for somebody who is on the call, hearing for the first time what Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is, can you just give us a brief overview of what the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is?
All right. So when we talk about the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, it's part of the UK government's Commonwealth Scholarship Program or Commonwealth Scholarship Scheme. So the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is just one of the programs that forms part of the bigger program called the Commonwealth Scholarship Scheme. So under the Commonwealth Scholarship Scheme, that is the bigger umbrella. We have Commonwealth Shared, we have Commonwealth Masters, we have Commonwealth Split Side, we have Commonwealth Fellowships, we have Commonwealth PhD, scholarship. So Commonwealth Shared is just a subsidiary of the broader picture. And how do we, what's the difference between Commonwealth Shared and then the other programs? So the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is a kind of a partnership between a UK university and the UK government's Commonwealth Scholarship Program, right? So there is a UK university that is partnering with the government to give opportunities to individuals in Commonwealth countries, and we have to be specific on that. So the Commonwealth countries are those countries that have this political affiliation, whether it's through colonization or whatever it may be, with the UK government. Right. So the Commonwealth Shared in particular, what makes it shared is that this time around, I'm going to fund you, or I'm going to give you an opportunity to study in the UK. But then this time around, we are doing it in partnership with the UK university. So what that means is that the UK university has a role to play in terms of the funding aspect. So in terms of the costs associated with it, I'm going to take a part of the cost involved, and then the UK government is going to also take a part in the cost involved. So that is the basic idea with regards to the Commonwealth Shared. So the UK university is the nominating agency. In other words, I am going to choose who I want to fund or support based on the eligibility requirements that have been given, or based on the existing eligibility requirements of the Commonwealth program in itself. So if the applicant makes the cut and is qualified, I am going to nominate them. And that also means that the UK universities have their own eligible programs that they want to fund students for. So unlike a program like Chevening, where you can just apply to any program in the UK and apply to Chevening for funding, or to be selected for Chevening scholarship. With the Commonwealth Shared, the UK university has a list of eligible programs that you have to apply to. So you can't just apply to any other program. There's a list of programs that you have to apply to. So you apply to those to the eligible programs, and then we nominate you, and then we split, or we share the cost. Let me use that word. We share the cost. So the UK government, I think we'll go into that, but basically that is the idea. Yeah, so it's the scholarship program, or the Commonwealth Shared program, the objective or the purpose. So what is the objective, or what is the purpose of the Commonwealth Shared scholarship program? Is to support individuals who are committed to the developmental needs of their country, right? That is the purpose. So the UK government have their own national interest, and their national interest is their commitment to development in middle or low income countries. And the Commonwealth Shared program, the purpose is that I want to support you. I have realized that you have a developmental potential. You can contribute to the developmental needs of your country. And for that matter, I want to give you an opportunity to get a new skill, a new qualification, so that you can return to your country and apply that new skill to the developmental needs of your country. And for that matter, we have the Sustainable Development Goals, which I should think that almost all of us are aware of. We have these Sustainable Development Goals, which the whole world is working toward. So we are tying the needs of your country to these Sustainable Development Goals. We give you the opportunity to come to the UK to study on a fully funded program. And once you are done, because we chose you based on your potential to contribute to the developmental needs of your community or your country, you return with the objective of applying your new skill to address the problems that are confronting your country. So I think basically that's
Yeah.
it.
So why didn't the NSS give you the teacher role? Because you're a very good teacher.
Well, this is Ghana. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the fact I was overly qualified. I don't know.
Probably. Guys, put in the chat box. Don't you think he's a very good teacher? Because he
Yeah.
exists. I'm actually shuffling between two things. So I'm controlling Facebook, controlling
Okay.
Zoom, control admitting and all of that. But I understand what you're saying because it's very good. It's quite detailed. I think you should still pursue. Don't let it go. You're actually very
I'm
good at
still a
it.
teacher anyway.
Yeah,
I'm
so
still a teacher.
that's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've given the general overview. So what I took, there are a lot of, scholarships that the Commonwealth gives, of which Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is a part of. And for
Yeah.
that, this is sort of their requirement. So let's go into it. So what are some of the key components of the application process? Now, in that conversation, I want to know whether everyone is qualified to apply. Do you need to have a specific grade point to apply? Do you need to have obtained a certain level of qualification? Maybe if it's just for people after degree, you've not seen anyone with diploma and all of that. Can you give us some of the key components? I think with that same question, eligibility comes in. What is the criterion for selection?
All right. Thank you, Lois. I'll start with the application procedure. Okay. And then from there, I'll look at the eligibility requirements. So in terms of the application procedure, you go to the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship platform. And once you go there, the first thing that you have to do, based on what I've said already, is that you are looking for a program that the university is eligible to offer. So you are not going, you are not, your intention to apply for the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is not for you to go there with your own program, right? So you go to the website, you look at the list of eligible programs. Some of you are here, you might have applied last year. You want to apply this year, but then you realize that your program was not there. Like the program you intended to apply last year is not there this year. And that's because the UK universities do what we call the bidding. They bid before their programs are eligible. So it means that your program didn't make the cut for Commonwealth this year. So you stick to what is there for this year. Don't say because I applied last year, international development, this year, I'm going for the same program. So you go to the website, you check the list of eligible programs. And the programs are organized according to the themes. There are 6 main themes, and the themes are tied to the Sustainable Development Goals: access, inclusion, resilience, justice, and so on and so forth. They are not off head. I can't say them off head. So you maybe you are into you are coming from my background. I'm into education, so it's likely that I'll be found under access, inclusion, and opportunities. So I go to that tab and I look at the programs that are eligible. Maybe you are into justice, so you are looking at maybe strengthening resilience in communities, or maybe you are into health, right? So you look at the developmental themes. Where does your passion lie? And then you go to that theme, then you check the programs. So I've gone there, I've realized that, okay, I'm into public health, right? So which university is offering that program, or which university is eligible for that program? Immediately, you go to that university's website. The first thing you have to do. Then you check the eligibility requirements from the university's website. And of course, you are applying for a master's program. So what that means is that you must have had an undergraduate experience. You need a bachelor's degree. Number 2, you are applying for an academic program, so you need your transcript. Okay, then number 3, so there are 2 main things you have to take note of. The university's requirement for the program you're applying to, and they might have specific requirements. Your transcript is a must. Your bachelor's degree certificate is a must. Your, how do you call it? You check for your English proficiency. Is the university requiring that I submit my IELTS scores? Thankfully, I went to Scotland and nothing like that is there. Of course, not for all universities, but then you have to check, right? And for some of us coming from some of these countries, you can actually check that mark with your WASI results. So I didn't write IELTS, but then I checked that mark with my WASI results and I was good to go. So you check that. Your statement of purpose for the university, you check that as well. So you check for those requirements. Then you come to Commonwealth. Now, all the eligibility requirements for Commonwealth is that you must be a member, you must be living in the Commonwealth country. So whether it's Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, or wherever you're coming from, if it's a Commonwealth country, you must be resident there. Number two, you need your transcript and your degree. Now, in terms of the grade that you need, a first class makes you a strong fit for the application because you are in a pool with, thousands of applicants. So if you have a first class, you are good to go. Second class upper, you are good to go. Second class lower, don't underestimate yourself. You still have a chance, right? So your grades are there, you are good to go. Now, let me share a story. 2019, 2020, when I applied first, I didn't have a passport. You see, it was too late. I didn't have a passport. You might be here. You intend to travel abroad. You don't have a passport. Your passport is your identification. What that tells that you are a citizen of a Commonwealth country. So please, if you don't have a passport right now, make haste and get a passport for yourself. So that is a requirement.
See, I don't know how many times to hammer this, okay? The opportunities I lost in a particular year because I didn't have a passport. No one told me to go rush and get a passport. The opportunity, because I didn't see myself that I could get that opportunity. So I didn't even strive for it until the opportunity came and we had to run helter-skelter trying to look for Nyombe Buye, like those who actually scammed us and all of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, even if you have to save, I think I wrote something that if you have to save your national service money just to do your passport, put it in. I saw a friend who had put it in and they had given him the passport application for next year, May. So it's a long time process.
Yeah.
So start getting it now. And I would also like to point on the fact that I have kept on saying that you should always know the source of your funding before you apply for an admission.
Yeah.
People tend to do the other way around. This one, you knew you were going for the Commonwealth Shared. So you backtrack by one step to go into the school to check its eligibility and things, and you know that you were good to go because the Commonwealth Shared had that particular course in figure. I don't know how best I can say this, but I get a lot of messages that says, I've got a university of this, I've got a university of that, but I don't have. I say, so why did you apply for it? Know the source of your funding before you apply to a UK school. UK believes in equity and equality of education. If you apply to the school, they will give you, hands down. But what sieves us amongst other people is, where is your money? Where is your funding? If you have your money, you are coming, no problem. A lot of people are coming with money. I've met people that they don't mind. They have the money to pay, right? But if you don't have it, you should have a particular scholarship you are backtracking it to. I mean, over to you. I'll talk for Ghana.
All right. So what you are saying is absolutely right. And I think that's one of the reasons why I went in for Commonwealth, because even if I had gotten a full tuition waiver program, I don't think I would have afforded the plane tickets, cost of visa application, and so on and so forth. Maybe we'll get there. But then back to the passport bit of it. Someone might say, oh, can I use my voter's ID? No. Please get a passport. It's very important. Can I use my Ghana card? I can't tell because I don't know the status of Ghana card now internationally. So it's good for you to get a passport because that's your ticket to traveling to. That's your I don't know. That's the basic requirement for you to be able to travel apart from getting the visa, right? So once you've checked this list, the next thing that you do is that you don't. Let me clarify this. You don't have to get an admission offer, whether conditional or unconditional, at the time of applying to Commonwealth Shared for Commonwealth Scholarship, right? So it could be that right now you are on this call, you intend to apply, you've not gotten admission yet. It doesn't become a barrier. It doesn't prevent you from applying. You can still go ahead and apply. The most important thing is that once you have applied, make sure that you are getting admission, because at the end of the day, it's the university that will nominate you. Again, let me say that when you go to the university's website to browse or look out for the requirements for the eligible program, please do well to go to their funding webpage and check whether Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is there. Now, once you see Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, the university might have their own additional requirements to applying for Commonwealth. So you have to do due diligence in searching out for that as well. Again, that brings us back to understanding that it is a shared program. University is taking part, they have their own requirements. Commonwealth has their own requirement. Commonwealth has a basic requirement, and those are the things I've mentioned. You being a resident of a Commonwealth country, you've not studied in a high-income country. So right now, I can't go back and apply to Commonwealth because I studied in the UK. I studied in a high-income country. You've not lived in a high-income country. And for that matter, you cannot afford to study in the UK, if you are not given this opportunity. It's a basic requirement for Commonwealth. Apart from that, you have your results and all these things that I've touched on, your document and all these things. Then again, you check from the university website, do they have specific requirement? And that includes that the university might say that you should have applied to their program before a specific deadline. So right now, probably you've not gotten admission, but then you've not also checked from the university websites the requirements. And it could be that as of now, the university, you are not eligible because you did not meet the university's cut. So it's important for you to check the university's own requirements before making the application. Now, once you have done all these checks, then you put in your application for Commonwealth. So with the Commonwealth application, you need your references as well. Okay. This is very important and is a major issue. Getting your references or getting people to recommend you is the major issue. Look, there are a lot of people who are qualified, but just because they don't have a reference, they are still where they are. So it's important that you give your referees information ahead of time and ensure that they have given the affirmation that they are going to provide you with a reference, and they are able to attest to your academic and developmental contributions, whatever it may be, right? So with Commonwealth, you need 3 recommendations. I don't know if it has changed, but you need 3 recommendations. The good thing about Commonwealth is that your referees do not have to submit their recommendation as of the time you were applying. They will only be contacted once you have been nominated. So that is the only time that your referees are going to be contacted to submit the application. And that is a good thing. So just focus now on submitting their names, getting them to give their consent that, you've submitted my name, and once you are nominated, I'm going to offer you a good recommendation. You are good to go. And then, focus on, in terms of, because you need to secure either an unconditional offer from the UK university that is eligible. That is running your program. Okay. So focus now on getting your referees to give you the recommendation for the UK university. Just put their names in the Commonwealth application, and then you are good to go. Then your essays. Your essays are very important. So you have to start planning the essay. I'm sure some of you might have made progress, and along the line, if you have any questions as to how you can, up your game in terms of writing the essays, I'm willing to share some tips on that. So basically, this is the format. So once you have, applied to the UK university, maybe you've not gotten admission yet, that's fine. You've applied to Commonwealth, then you relax. And then once you relax, you work on the UK university, you've gotten your admission, then you relax. And then you'll be sent an email by the UK university that you've been nominated for Commonwealth. Commonwealth, they've put your name forward to Commonwealth. Once your name has been put forward, I can tell you that you are 99% assured that you got the scholarship. So once your name has been put forward, the Commonwealth will just kind of do their formalities, make sure that you are eligible, you have checked all the marks, and then they affirm, and then you receive your final award letter, and then you are good to go. So basically, that is the simple process that you have to go through to apply for Commonwealth. And mind you, maybe you are saying, okay, I don't have any employment. Employment is not a basic requirement for you to apply for Commonwealth. The emphasis is on your contribution to the developmental needs of your country. The emphasis is on, maybe I should end here, and if you have any question, maybe, or I can.
No, the emphasis is very important.
All right. So in terms of the selection process, okay, the emphasis not really on your maybe you don't really have a professional background in terms of work. You don't have much work experience. The emphasis is on your developmental contributions. Volunteering is one of them. You've contributed significantly to the developmental needs of your local community in one way or the other. It's essential. That is the objective. Number 2, your academic qualification. Now, maybe you are having a second class upper or a second class lower. That's fine. Don't be discouraged. Up your game in terms of how well you are able to prove that you have contributed to the developmental needs of your community, number one. Number two, when you are given the offer, you have a clear plan as to how best you will return and apply your new skill to the developmental needs of your community. There's a question in the chat box.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I should pick it.
Yeah, whilst you're talking, just pick that particular one.
All right. Gamma says, please, I got lost at your explanation about when you are given admission and when Commonwealth comes in. All right. So I was saying that you don't have to get admission at the time of applying. So Commonwealth, the deadline is not up now. Maybe you've not gotten admission yet. That is fine. Put in your application for Commonwealth. However, once you are done, ensure that you have secured an unconditional admission offer from the UK university. Okay. Number two, ensure that at the time of securing that admission offer, it meets any deadline requirements, because if you are applying to Commonwealth Shared, it could be that the deadline is 20th December. When is the deadline? I think it's 14th December. It could be that the university expected that you might have secured an unconditional offer from them by, let's say, 15th November or by 1st December. Right. So ensure that you have gotten admission after you have applied. If you haven't gotten admission now, that is fine. It is a plus for you. If you have gotten an unconditional offer now, you are good to go. Please, speaking of that, please, I hope that is clear. Please, yeah. Speaking of the 3 reference letters, can they all be academic? I would say that it will be to your advantage if you can get, another professional letter. But if they are all academic, I think it's fine. But then it will be to your advantage, because academically, they are going to attest to your academic capabilities. But how about your contributions to development, right? Yeah. Are they able to attest to the fact that you've demonstrated that, or you are committed to the developmental needs of your community, Lois?
Yeah, I think let's go through the questions, because and if you have any questions, we are going to take questions. So that one, keep them coming. But I don't want him to lose sight of. Let's just go through them quickly, because maybe through the conversation, your question will be answered. So let's just go through them. Now, the next question I had was, what disciplines of study does the scholarship cover? Maybe if you don't have it offhand, I could share my screen.
All right, absolutely.
Yeah, if you've got it offhand, it will be so that maybe it can help you go through them.
Well, but then, while you share your screen, as I said, the disciplines of study are tied to 6 main developmental themes. And as Lois has shared, we have access, inclusion, opportunity. We have promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. We have science and technology for development, strengthening global peace, security and governance, strengthening health systems and capacity, strengthening resilience and response to crisis. Now, you look through these developmental themes, and you would realize that there are courses, or the disciplines, so to speak, under each of the themes, right? So, Lois, so under access, inclusion, under promoting innovation, we have MSc. Yeah, so under access, inclusion, opportunity, we have international human rights law, mathematics, investigative journalism, and so on and so forth. Then under, let's say, science and technology for development, we have, parasite control, conservative and land management, renewable energy engineering, and so on and so forth. So the disciplines are tied to, let me say, they are a kind of a composite of the Sustainable Development Goals, right? The 17 Sustainable Development Goals. They've been clustered under these 16 for Commonwealth. So all the disciplines you'll find under one of them. Now, let me tell you something. Every UK university which is eligible, or which has an eligible program, has a number of slots, or a number of people they are nominating. You have to be very, very strategic here. If a university has just one slot, what it means is that you have lower chances of, being nominated, isn't it? If I'm just nominating one person and we have 2,000, 3,000 people applying, you have lower chances of being nominated. University of Glasgow, at the time I was applying, had 9 nominations. And that meant that I had increased chances of being nominated by the UK university. So you can be strategic in the universities you are applying to. If if you realize that, hey, it's just one nomination, it means that, you are really putting in a very strong application to be nominated.
Yeah.
So if I'm you and I were to be strategic, I'll go in for the universities that, have higher slots. That means they have greater chances of being nominated. Of course, I'm not discouraging you to apply. I know that you have some good chances. So yeah.
No, but that's a very great tip because you have to be tactical in all these things. It's tactical and it's among all Commonwealth countries. And I think we have about 54 Commonwealth countries. So if we are all applying, I think it's quite wise, like you're saying, for you to be very strategic about it. So I could just share this link in the chat. I mean, if you are applying, you should know this link by now. It's not I just Google searched it whilst we were talking and I got it straight up. And the apply
Yeah.
button is there. So if you're looking at applying, you should familiarize yourself with this page. Like you should have visited it like 10 times for you. When you start typing in Google, Google will suggest it for you, that kind of thing. So I think that is quite clear. You've explained how you should go about it. You've explained that obviously if you are here amongst yourself, you want to try and categorize yourself under a particular thematic area under the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So we know that opportunity. You probably would have looked at the particular courses and you think this is a great fit for me. I think that I'll make a good cut. Now, the most important thing you've also added is checking the number as well. You can't put it in anyways. If it's one store, it's really up to you. Maybe you think you're that great, which obviously some people are and confident about it, but also it will be good to also have a look at schools that have more eligibility, openings for other people. So that will lead to the next question that upon all this, as you're applying, what really are the benefits that Commonwealth Shared Scholarship brings to you as an individual?
Look, there's a question in the chat box. Can I answer that and then I can?
Right, yeah.
Says is there age limit for Commonwealth? I've not seen that. I've not seen whether there's an age limit. I think their basic requirements are what I've mentioned, right? In my cohort, I had people who were more than 30, I think. So I have not seen that I've not seen that requirement, right? And that means that even if you are, you can apply. Right. So back to your question about the benefits. First and foremost, I would say that the opportunity to study in the UK is very prestigious. And that alone is a benefit. You can't doubt that, if you're introducing yourself and you say MSc Education for Sustainable Future, University of Glasgow, they go like, whoa, it makes you a heavyweight. So you don't want to downplay that. And it also gives you exposure. Look, the problems, and let me be honest here. Once you get exposure, you will really have a paradigm shift, even in your mindsets and how you look at it. Right. So the Lawrence that was in 2020 or whatever, is not the Lawrence today to an extent because I've gotten exposure. There are a lot of things I've seen, and that alone is a benefit that you cannot downplay. Apart from that, the networks that you're able to develop. Look, you are going to the UK, and the UK is one of the most multicultural countries you can find on earth. You'll be in a public transport, you hear someone speaking French, someone speaking your local language, and that reflects in their classrooms. You are going into a multicultural classroom, and that means that you are going to strengthen and consolidate your professional network for life. You are going to meet people from all over the world. That is a benefit. And if you pick if you go through your contacts, you have access to people from all over the world. That is a plus. Okay, you don't want, and apart from that, the workshops and even, the certificate itself is a benefit. So I really want that to, to come first. The training and the knowledge that you gain is a benefit. The exposure that you gain and the skill that you gain is a benefit on its own. Then we come to the peace of mind that you get of studying and not having to think of how am I going to pay my fees? How am I going to eat? How am I going to pay for my accommodation? How am I going to adjust to the winter? As Lois, you see Lois is cladded in, her
in my own house.
And, so the Commonwealth is a fully funded program. What it means is that, when I was going, I entered the UK the TLS contact zone, and I met these Ghanaians. Then they were like, "Oh, you're a Commonwealth Shared Scholar." Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Commonwealth. It's my first time seeing one with my eye. Hey, this one there, take your bag and go." You know, it's just like that. You are not thinking of visa costs. You know, I'm going to struggle to prove that I have to get the visa because it's the UK government inviting you. So visa costs paid for, tuberculosis test paid for, immigration health surcharge paid for, you get your stipend, accommodation needs paid for, food paid for, clothing allowance paid for, grants. If you are doing your thesis, you get a grant paid for, research work paid for, everything is paid for. All you have to do is just enter the country and go and study and come back home. Finished.
See, I'm sick and tired. You see, and hey, see, let me tell you something. Like he's saying, Lawrence is saying, everything is planning. Like you have to start planning the thing from here. Mindset change. We ran a session like this before, right? A lot of this session. And what hurts me is that I still go back to see people saying, I'm applying for Empower Loan. I'm applying for Empower Loan. Whenever I see that, I just see that it's like a wasted effort. What I'm trying to tell you is that we are presenting you with an opportunity that you rightly deserve. That will require that the only thing of you to do is to plan a year ahead. Be very strategic about it. 2 years ahead. Even if you go, you fail, come back because you know that the end is greater. Like, I don't know how many times I should be saying this, but it feels like people that have chosen a particular narrative and have come to the UK are carrying that information across. Like the people who are coming through the care worker visa, the this and the that. It's quite easy. Okay?
And the system is choked.
It's choked. It's easy when you're coming in because all you need to know is to raise money. So you can go to a friend and raise that money and come. But when you come, the realities of it will hit you. And people say, oh, we are coming. Anyone that comes to the UK is suffering. Who told you? None of us are suffering. No. Imagine you're on a common. The only thing you have to do is to learn. Your 20 hours is for doing some job. That is if you choose to.
In fact, Commonwealth discourages you from doing that 20 hours.
Doing that 20 hours. My school is only, they give you only 6 hours. And even that 6 hours they give to you, you can just teach or something if you want to teach around on a particular course or something like that. And everything is paid for. See, it's okay. In fact, the more I say, the more I get angry. So let's just keep quiet and just stick to what we are saying. But we wouldn't do something that obviously, if you have to plan, you have to plan it and keep on. Okay. So
let me add that, sometimes people get discouraged because they have to come back home. But trust me, if you come back home, your status will still not be the same. Like, of course, I'm back home, but I'm and of course, you see, don't enter Commonwealth with the mindset that I'm going to stay. The reality is that your air tickets going in and coming back is already booked for you. So,
exactly.
And you are required as a matter of fact by the conditions of the award that you return within 1 month, and they are very particular about that. Okay, so please just go with the mindset that I'm committed to the developmental needs of my country and I'll return. If you are young, let me use this opportunity to advise you are young. Don't do anything that will tarnish your international credibility.
Exactly.
So if you get the offer and the requirement is return.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the road.
But at the same time, I know 3 friends that came on Shared that got PhDs right after. And that one, they still returned, but the school took another opportunity and brought them back in. That's all up to you. But like you said, your international credibility is very important. If they say come back home, you go back home. Go back to Ghana. If you're done with your study, then go back home. Then
within 1 month, Rafiatu. And there's a question that says, please, can a diploma holder apply? You are applying for a master in the UK, and you need a bachelor's degree to be able to apply. Lois, are you talking? If you are talking, you are muted.
Sorry, my bad. So we'll go to the next question before we take the other. What were some of the challenges that you had during your application process? And how can, prospective applicants, overcome those challenges?
Yes. So in terms of the challenges, I think delayed application was one of them, and that was not from the fault of Commonwealth. It was because I was so busy, all over the place, traveling and so on and so forth. So one of the challenges I particularly encountered was not having time to really, not having time, having to come under pressure to be able to turn my application in. Number two, references. Big issue. For you to be able to get references in Ghana or wherever you're coming from, if you don't have that relationship, if you are here, you probably haven't graduated yet, please, if you have intentions of graduate school, start developing relations with your professors, because those guys are going to give you a tough time, and you can't blame them because they are extremely busy. You see, and if they don't know you, if you don't know someone, it's difficult for you to give the person a recommendation, So please do well to develop a rapport with your professors and your professional at your workplace. Please do well to develop relationships with them. It's very important. So for me, those were my main challenge. And of course, another thing was that I didn't really understand the expectations of my program. And for that matter, I was struggling to tailor my essays to the expectations or the objectives of my program. For some of you, all you do is that you are just zealous. You want to travel. You are desperate. But do you really understand what the program has to offer? At the end of the day, your essays are a major part of you being selected or nominated by the UK university. So if you cannot really justify why you should be on that program by virtue of where am I coming from, where am I now, and where am I going? What was my academic background? What have I done now? How is my academic background pushing me forward? Or how are my contributions to the developmental needs of my community pushing me forward? Where does this UK universities program fit into that wider vision? If you cannot make that balance, it becomes a problem. And for me, it was a challenge. I really struggled to grasp what is my program about. My program it has a long name, Education for Sustainable Futures in Adult, Youth, and Community Context. It has a long name. It's a long program. So I was like, what is this program about? But fortunately for me, I had to be immersed in the program. I had to be immersed in the program. Look, it is not enough for you to just go to the program website, read the shadow things that have been written there. Try as much as possible, pick the professors one by one. That was what helped me. I picked the professors one by one. I went into details. What are their areas of specialty, especially the modules they teach or they lecture on that program. And that was what helped me to be able to understand the expectations of the program, what the whole program was about, right? And I was able to tailor the essays to, their needs. So if you are reading my essays, you realize that this is something that resonates with you. This is something that resonates with your area of study. So that was a challenge for me. And I really want all aspiring or potential applicants to take note of that.
Lovely. Right. So my last question before we take questions from the audience. He'll be answering all questions from the audience, but the last question I've got here is for someone who is looking to apply in future, could you take us through the timelines of the application? When does it open? When does one need to start preparing before the open date, and when does it close? This is very important.
All right. So in terms of your preparation, as I said earlier on, I had my first experience with Commonwealth in 2019. Rejection doesn't mean that is the end of the road, right? So long, I started long time. So if you started now, it's good. The time is now. Now, the next thing is that when now for UK universities, I think one thing is that you check, if you are not applying this year, you check the programs that are eligible for this year and note them down. Next year, you revisit and ascertain whether those programs are still eligible for the scholarship. If they are not, it means that you have to reset, right? So the time is now. If you are not applying this year, the time is now. Now, if you are applying this year, of course, the application season has opened. So for UK universities, and I stand to be corrected here, right from September, November up to January, the application season to apply for an unconditional offer or admissions will be opened, right? So you go to the university website, you make all the checks, and you inform your referees and whatever. You put in your application. December's Commonwealth opens, and you realize that Commonwealth has a very short timeline in terms of when it's open and when it's closed. When did it open? I think it was I've forgotten when it opened, but then the deadline is 14th, right? And it's like it's less than 1 month for you to be. So what it means is that you should be able to get the essays. So if you have not applied this year, just try, even if your intentions are not to apply, just go online and get their essays. And that information is online. You will get it like on YouTube, everywhere. You will get the essays that are required and start prepping, writing the essays down, because you realize that now you had less than 1 month and you have about 10 essays to write to be convincing enough. So if you had your first draft, second draft of your essay, you've gotten some Commonwealth scholars to review your essays for you or whatever, giving their recommendation, you'll be able to insert all those changes that you have to make. You've applied. Now when? Then you wait. So the UK university would inform you whether you have been nominated. And as I said, latest by April, May, thereabouts, you should have gotten a decision. And of course, please verify from the university's website, because they also indicate when they are going to nominate or inform applicants who have been nominated. So it's not fixed, right? Every UK university have when they are going to nominate. University of Glasgow could have nominated somewhere in November. Cambridge could have nominated in March, right? So there's no specific timeline as to when the nomination. Some come, as late as July, right? Or even June. And the good thing is that we come up, because everything is funded, you don't bother your head about visa and whatever. I mean, you just put in and then you are treated as a priority, right? So the timelines as to when you are going to get a decision varies based on the conditions of the UK university. I don't know whether this helps.
Yes, it does help. I was talking in, well, I don't know if you would need to say this again, because I don't know how many times, but I sort of understood it. But people are asking the same thing. Now read Gamma's own and read the other person. You can see that it's one but the same question. Now Gamma is saying, I have applied to Robert Gordon for the Masters in Cybersecurity under the Science Technology for Development theme, as well as the scholarship. From what you're saying, it means I should be given admission by RGU before 14th, right? No.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Robert Gordon University probably have their own timelines as to when people intending to apply for Commonwealth Shared might have submitted their application for an unconditional admission offer from them. So you have to check from Robert Gordon University whether that is applicable, right? So let's say Robert Gordon University is saying that if you intend to apply for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, then you must have submitted your application by the 1st of December. And you must have gotten an unconditional offer by the 1st of December, or you must have submitted your application by the 1st of December. 2 ways, right? And that is specific to the UK university. So it doesn't apply to everyone. For some UK universities, there are no timelines. You've not gotten an unconditional admission offer now. You have not submitted your application now. Your UK university does not specify that that is a requirement. Go ahead and apply to Commonwealth. Once you are done, make sure that you are getting an unconditional offer from the UK university based on the program deadline. So if the program deadline is January 15th, you should get an unconditional, or you should have submitted your application by the January 15th deadline, and you should have gotten an unconditional offer. Because at the end of the day, what happens is that the UK universities you have indicated in your application that you are applying for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. So they are going to read your essays. And the only thing that will make them nominate you is whether you have met the basic requirements of the program you applied to. Have you gotten admission? If you have gotten admission, you have made it for the first step. Therefore, let us proceed further to consider you for funding, Commonwealth Shared, and that's it. So to wrap up all this, or to clarify, you don't need to have gotten an unconditional admission offer as of the time of your application. However, go to the UK university's website and be sure that they do not have a requirement as to a particular deadline by which you should have, submitted your application or gotten an offer before applying to Commonwealth. I don't know if this is clear.
It's clear. It's the same thing. Anna is asking the same thing. What he's saying, example, Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is ending on the 14th of December. You've applied to the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, but you were applying to University of Bangor.
Yeah.
And University of Bangor is saying that every student that will come on that particular should have had an unconditional offer by the 15th of January 2024. Even though you have applied for that, you need to have that particular deadline as well in your mind and make sure you have applied for that your conditional offer to come before they communicate with Commonwealth that we have an unconditional offer of this student. So we are considering the person for a Commonwealth share. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
It's the same. It's a very simple. Don't complicate your mind. It's just keeping times and deadlines in your mind so that you don't
and checking from the university as well.
The university as well.
It's shared. It's shared. And even if it is Commonwealth Masters, I don't want to deviate. Even if it's Commonwealth Masters where they have nominating agencies, you still have to check with the nominating agency. Okay, so with shared is the university that's going to nominate. So they set they have the additional requirements. So you just don't think about Commonwealth alone. Just think about the university as well and what they expect you to do.
Yeah. That was the question I got from Facebook. There was a question that said, can you apply if you already have a master's degree?
Yeah, so far as that degree was not in a high income country, you can apply. So far as that degree was not in a high income country or a high income country, I mean, you've not studied you didn't get that degree from a developed country, sorry, you can apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are some of the questions I think you said. I don't want to go through that again. I want to get it right. You keep mentioning unconditional offer. Kindly throw light.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Conditional, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So in the UK, there are two types of admissions. We have a conditional offer and an unconditional offer. A conditional offer means that we have checked the basic requirements of your application and you meet it, but there are other aspects that you have not yet fulfilled. For example, we have realized that your transcripts are good. You got good grades, okay? You have submitted your SOP. You have submitted your references. And for that matter, everything that you need to be able to make it on the program, you have gotten that. However, there are other things that we need to be able to finalize on your application. For example, you are yet to provide us with your passport. Right. And for that matter, we cannot, give you, we cannot finalize on your application, or you are yet to submit your English proficiency scores, IELTS, right, which is a major requirement. So you have checked all the mark, but there are one or two things that you are yet to fulfill, one or two requirements that you are yet to fulfill. And for that matter, we are giving you a conditional offer based on the fact that if you submit this, then we give you an unconditional offer. What does it mean? You have met all the requirements. You have submitted your English test scores. You have submitted your passport. You have checked all the mark. And for that matter, your offer is unconditional. You don't have any fulfillments to meet, So if it's conditional, it means that there are one or two things that you are yet to submit, and the university will draw your attention to it.
Yeah. I'm trying to answer Rafiatu's question as well, but let me see if there are some questions like, yeah, you're gonna get the link to rewatch the video will be on our YouTube channel. So I just send it, I'll send you the link after to watch YouTube channel. I don't get it. The question you're asking, please, does the scholarship covers bachelor's degree? No, Priscilla, this scholarship is for a master's degree. He made mention of the fact that in the beginning that there are different Commonwealth scholarships available, of which Commonwealth Shared Scholarship is a part of. Okay, so for those who are asking whether it's just master's, PhD, there's a Commonwealth PhD scholarships. So if you type Commonwealth PhD scholarships, they are also there. This is Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, which is just only master's focus. If you go through the eligibility courses I've put as a link in the chat box on Zoom, you realize that all the courses are either MPhil, MSc, MDP, or whatnot. So it's mostly for master's degree. Okay. If you've not got any other questions, I mean, those on Facebook, please do drop your questions in the chat box if you've got any. But I'll ask, yeah, do you think I missed anything, Lawrence, in asking the questions?
Well, I think a major part of your application will be your essays. All right. And I don't know whether I'm allowed to do this, or maybe I can share
You're
a couple of
allowed.
tips.
You're allowed.
So
I
a
can
major.
Do you want to share your screen or?
No, I'm not sharing my screen.
Okay.
All right. So a major part of your application, all right, are your essays. Now there are three selection criteria that the Commonwealth will be using: your academic merits, which I've mentioned already, your development plan, or your expected contribution to the developmental needs of your country, and your research plan. Now, your essays, and I've been reviewing essays, and I keep saying, tip number one, you should be able to clearly define the problem that you have identified. Now, you have a lot of people who are not defining the problem properly. Okay, you have a lot of people writing their essays, but the problem that you can't seem to tell what exactly are they going to address. All right, it looks like the problem you are all over the place. And I can give you a practical example. If I'm to review my 2019 essays, all right, 2019, I applied to international development. And I was talking about a lot of things. I was talking about recidivism, people who go, people, this word again. Yeah, people who go to the prisons, and I got to know that word in 2019, a long time.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and I was talking about that. I was talking about my passion for plastic waste. I just want to give you a clear picture. One essay, I was talking about I was talking about education. So you realize I was all over the place. I wasn't specific. Now, if you are not defining your problem well, it means that it is, you see, you can't tell a clear narrative. I want you to see the Commonwealth essays as a story you are telling. And you are part of that story. And that is why I said from the beginning that I had to take 2 years to work on myself. So in 2019, I was all over the place. In 2020, 2021, 2022, I was working on myself, and I carved a niche for myself in the area of education. And all my contribution to the developmental needs of my country was in the area of education. And for that matter, my own story, my personal challenges, going through Ghana's educational system, as well as the contributions I've made based on my personal experiences, came up strongly in the essay I was telling, and connecting that to my professional experience. So I was teaching in an urban school. I realized that literacy was a challenge. That is my problem. Then I back the problem I have identified, literacy, just one problem. I don't need too many problems. Some people will be talking about literacy, infrastructure. They'll be talking about low teachers, teachers that are not in the school. You are talking about too many things. So please, narrow your problem, focus on just that one thing. If it is in the area of climate change, does it have to do with improper disposal of waste? Does it have to do with low levels of education in Ghana? What exactly is it related to policy? Be specific, narrow your problem to that one thing. Number two, having defined your problem, back it with statistics. Don't write raw essays. Make your problem concrete. And when you make it concrete, don't deviate from your problem. Now, I want you to think of it this way. I've put in A, I should get B. So if the problem I have identified is literacy, then it means that I'm going to study a course that is related to it, and that will make me, empower me, strengthen me to be able to address the problem I have identified. So don't tell me that your problem you have identified is literacy, but then you are going to read public health. It doesn't add up. There is no correlation. There is no synergy. So please, when you identify the problem, you've narrowed it down. Now think about the course. Whatever I am writing in the essay, would it allow me to solve the problem? You have people telling problems, but then the solutions or their plans for development will in no way address the problem. Okay, so please think of your essays as a narrative, which you are part of. You've identified your problem. You are telling us what your program will enable you to do in terms of, addressing the problem. Number 3, in terms of your plans when you come back home, very important, that aspect of the essay. You have a lot of scholars or potential scholars having wild dreams. They are all over the place. And sometimes I get worried because what you are saying is not realistic. What you are saying in the essay is not realistic. Some people will give wild dreams. I'll build this. When I come back, I will do A, B, C, D. Please, they know. Listen, you are likely to come back home and you are even now going to search for a job. And they know it. Because when you come back home, they are not going to find a job for you. You are going to find a job if you didn't have a job before going. So that is not where to be political in your speech. Please. It's not a manifesto. Don't go and be making wild promises you cannot fulfill. So if your problem is literacy needs in a community, and you realize that, okay, my program is Education for Sustainable Futures, when I come back, I will be able to design learning activities that will improve on the literacy outcomes of the people I've identified. Don't be wild in your imaginations. Stick to the problem that you have narrowed. And that is it. Okay, and in terms of the personal development, the problem statement aspect and your leadership qualities and all those things, all I'll say at that side, in that aspect of the essay is that be authentic. Be authentic. Be authentic and make sure that the things you are sharing in your personal development are things related to the problem you have stated. Okay, so just think of your essays as a story you are telling. It should inspire me. It should let me see clearly where you are coming from, where you are now, and where you want to head, or where you are going. It will amaze you if I show you my essays, especially in terms of the plans for my career. It was just straightforward. When I come back home, I want to do A, B, C, D. Long-term career goal, I want to be A, B, C, D finished. The most important thing or aspect of the essay is the developmental plan. What do you think you will do when you come back home? Is it concrete? Can it be substantiated? Is it realistic? In terms of, is this something you can do as a young graduate? Please don't go and make political promises. Just stay to the problem and research well, and you'll be excellent.
I think this is a very good closing note because I think that no one has any questions. So I want to best believe that we've dealt with this topic as much as possible. People have understood it and obviously would, go for it. I don't think if you are currently listening to us, the deadline is on the 14th of December at 4 p.m. And so if you haven't applied, like I said before, these are the things that, this particular session will help you to plan ahead for the next year. So next year, if you're having a topic like this, you are actually just coming to dot some I's, and cross some T's and put it before you that you're going to submit it tomorrow or the next day tomorrow. But even if you still have that concrete evidence, you want to still put it in because you've written all your essays, you think you have, just put it in. Sometimes the things you least expected were actually would be what you get. Like you said, you actually submitted it at 350 something. And even with the haste, you thought you weren't going to get through, right? But obviously, for some people, you might never know. All hands are not equal. So if you still want to put it in, I think that you would, just go for it. And next year as well, still be planning for other things. Like I say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This could be just one basket. You're still applying for a little bit more. Would you want to add some final words? Or I think that was the final words you gave.
Lawrence, I think in terms of the ethics, I have a lot to say, but let me just say this last thing, this final
Okay, if
thing.
you've remembered,
Please,
yeah.
also let's stop picking things directly from the university website and pasting into the essays. So you go to the university's how do you call it? Their program site, and then you just go and copy, and then you come and paste verbatim. No, please don't do that. You disqualify yourself there and then, right? Please read more about the university, read more about the program. There are a lot of things you can talk about in terms of why you want to study in the UK, in terms of your objectives. And let me add this, please. Know that the objective of the Commonwealth is because of developmental needs. Please, that is not where to tell them you are poor, you are this. You know, sometimes we feel like if I paint a picture of my poverty and how poor I am, that's what's going to convince them. No, that is not the objective of Commonwealth. Even if you are going to say that you are poor, you struggled financially, it should be tied to how you have, contributed to the developmental needs of your country. So please, the purpose of Commonwealth, they know you can't stay there, you can't fund your study in the UK, and that is why they are giving you this opportunity. Stay with the purpose of the funding or the award, and that is development. And also, when you return, please, some people think that they are going to get money and they are going to, when they come back home based on, no, please, that is not the objective of the award. So please stick to the developmental needs. What are you going to contribute to the developmental needs of your country? It is not about your personal success. It is about others. So please have this mindset. And once you have this mindset, in terms of the expectations they are requiring of you, it wouldn't be difficult for you to get in. All right.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I think I think even going through the essays specifically is a whole topic on its own. And I think I'll share a link because we've been doing this every year. And the last year's session with Emmanuel and I think Hagen, they actually went into the essays and they shared their screen and went into the essay one by one. So I'll share that as well for all those who are here. You can also go watch this particular one and watch how they explain each of the particular essays that they had to write. Okay. This, like I said, the deadline is close, almost close. So even if we talk about the essays today, we will, and you want to actually, do much about it, there's not much you can do because someone will have to peer review, read it out for you and all of that. So you can go through this and have a look. If you think that in the near future or next year or something, we should add a separate session for the essays where we are specifically going to talk about essay by essay. If you think so, put in the chat whether you think that we should do a session mainly for essay. And with that, I don't know whether Anna is here. She'll take into account of it and she'll organize that. She organizes like that, essay by essay, essay by essay, essay by. But we used to do it last year, but I think it took away. I felt it takes away the authenticity of people's. People are creative, but as we tend to tell you what you should write. So you lose your creativity in that process. I don't know whether you bear with me, Lawrence, on that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. It's good to be.
Yeah, it's good to be creative on your own. Then you make someone read through whether it makes sense rather than telling you what needs to be right. Sometimes you might have gotten it right. You might have written it right, but because we told you to do it this way and that way because that helped us, doesn't mean that that's what's going to help you. You are personally going to learn with tips and that. But if you say we should do that, the next year, we'll probably, bring a session like that, one after the other, and have them review. But thank you so much, Lawrence.